What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, as well as Facebook with your host, Komp and...
Barbara.
Okay, and today's film is...
Joker 2019.
Joker 2019. I'm the Joker, baby.
In Gotham. Harley Quinn?
No, there's a viral video of this guy... You've got to see the video. I wish I would have sent you this shit before we did this episode. There's a viral video of this young guy, I guess it was like 10 years ago, part of a college acting class. And he's like a guy in the UK, and he's dressed up as Heath Ledger's Joker. But he's he's terrible. He's a little bit chubby, and he turns around to the audience, and he's like, "You want to know how I got these scars? I'm the Joker, baby!" And that's all. It's great. Anyway, in Gotham City, mentally troubled comedian Arthur Fleck embarks on a downward spiral of social revolution and bloody crime. This path brings him face to face with his infamous alter ego, the Joker, directed by Todd Phillips, written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, based on the DC Properties comic character, the Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix.
I thought this was an original story. I didn't know that they were basing this on something.
No, it's not based on... No, I'm saying it's based on the character, the comic book.
I know. I'm pretending I don't know who the Joker is.
Oh, boy. Based on... starring... Jeez, look, he threw me off. Starring Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, and a whole bunch of other characters.
Who's Zazie
actors.
Beetz?
She was, Domino.
Oh, is that the Domino from Deadpool?
Yes, Domino from Deadpool 2. Anyway, so Denny, why did you pick Joker Part 1?
Because even though it is not a horror movie, it is a good movie, and I wanted to review.
It is a horror, because it caused such horror that there was going to be massive shootings.
I would never call this a horror.
No, it was going to cause massive shootings in theaters. And
do you know that there was a fat NYPD officer in my theater and just made me so uncomfortable, because if that man tried to save us, he'd probably end up just killing random black people and not actually defending us.
Was he cosplaying Harvey? You know, who's that fat cop from Batman? I forget it. His name was Harvey something. Never mind.
From the first Batman movie?
Batman the Animated Series. There was always this fat cop that was an asshole to Batman. His name was called Harvey something. Whatever. Okay. Never mind. Only people who saw the cartoon show know who that character is. So
I seen it. I loved it. Well, you know what? I really love Mark Hamill's Joker in that.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, so we'll get to that. So this film obviously is... I felt like this movie pretty much tracked very quickly. This is Todd Phillips, who's famous for making the films The Hangover films. And some other sort of...
Isn't it crazy that stupid movie and then to this? I think this is like a much bigger improvement, I would say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've never seen The Hangovers or any of those movies, so I
saw the first one. It's like so overrated. I don't know.
Yeah? I can't really compare Todd Phillips' filmmaking, honestly.
I guess I'm not really into comedies that much, and
they have to be like
there are a lot of mainstream comedy.
There are a lot of film reviewers that are automatically just shitting on this guy, on the Joker, because they're like, I don't like him because he made the Hangover movies, and I'm like, if a director consistently makes shitty movies and then he makes a good movie, I'd be like, oh shit, that's pretty good. Like,
of course.
There are aspects where you'll stay away from directors that make bad movies and then miss their good film. But I guess I can't say the
I'll give most directors a couple of chances. I mean, The Hangover isn't a bad movie. It's just not a funny movie because it's like mainstream humor to me.
Yes. Anyway, so this film is long gestating, but what happened is the last Joker film that we saw that actually came out
I didn't see it. I heard it was terrible.
Was an abomination to cinema. It was called The Suicide Squad, and it had, who's his name? Jared Leto. Singer of Mission to Mars. Is it Mission to Mars?
No, it's like 30 Seconds to Mars or something.
And I tell you this, that movie was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in the existence of reality, because... And then I even said that when I went to see the film, I was like, okay, all right, before the credits even started, sitting down in my own row, I was like, just sitting waiting for this movie to begin. This older man comes with a young girl, and I'm sitting there by myself. The young girl, she's probably like 14 or something. She gets up. They're sitting behind me, right? And she gets up, Then she sits next to me. There's nobody next to me, and she sits right next to me.
Maybe she was attracted to you.
And I was like, this is very strange. Very strange. What is going on here?
Maybe that little girl was attracted to you.
And
she
then
wanted to recreate the scene from Midsommar.
Don't get me into these problems. And then the guy gets up. I don't know what happened. The guy gets up, and because I guess that was his daughter, and he asks me if I could move because that's his daughter, so he could sit down. And I must have looked like that. I would just began talking to myself because I was cursing because I had picked my own seat to sit down by myself.
Yeah, of course.
But because this young girl sat next to me, and it automatically became awkward and strange. And then this older man asked me if he could sit in he wasn't very demanding of me. But I just sat in there.
That's very annoying.
And I bet you had.
Isn't that the worst when there's a million options and somebody's going near you?
I was in a row by myself.
Have you ever gone to a bathroom and there's 10 urinals and somebody just stands next to you and there's no reason?
I'm surprised because then I started cursing to myself, arguing with myself, what the fuck, just getting pissed. You've seen me pissed,
Yeah.
And I sat down. I'm lucky that more people didn't show up after that and thought that I was gonna be like that fucking nut job with the orange hair talking to himself, shooting up theaters, and I would have got arrested.
Let's talk about the movie.
Let's talk about this movie. This is an extremely well-made movie. No. So, what were your thoughts on The Joker 2019? Well, how does it start out? What's it about?
Well, to be honest, I went in, unfortunately, with a bad idea in my head.
Why?
Against my will, because I follow politics and shit, and everybody, all these stupid fucking PC people are saying it's a movie that promotes incel and right wing shit, and I'm like, what? I didn't necessarily believe it, but automatically now I have this concept in my head, and then I go to see it, and it's not at all. It's the opposite.
There's two ways to look.
Never kill cops or anything like that.
There's two ways to look at it this way. The Joker character. No, the Joker. Well, I mean, there's arguments that the people that shoot up.
No, I'm not saying. No, I know, but they were trying to say that
that's the mainstream media. Here's the thing: somebody.
It's no, it's not. Right wing people lick police boots. They would never kill the police or kill the rich. That would never happen.
Here's the thing with the mainstream media thing, and here's the part to put on. Here's the thing to put on. Get your tinfoil out and put it on your head. Because there was obviously some sort of...
It's already there. I always keep it on.
There's some sort of weird conspiracy theory that maybe Marvel was behind... Because it's not below Marvel.
Come on.
Come on, why not? That'd be pretty interesting. I'd say that's a pretty good idea for. But the thing is, what people don't understand, if you're trying to take down a film franchise, you cannot do it with the Joker character. He is quite possibly the most popular comic book character of all time. There's no question. They say Superman or Batman. No,
Joker is more popular in my opinion.
Joker's more popular.
I've loved the Joker since I was a fucking little kid. I've loved it forever. It's great.
And so they're just I'd love to see him get his ass kicked, but that's just me. And I think he's funny.
Yeah, I like to see him get his ass kicked, but still making jokes and pissing off Batman.
So anyway, there's a whole big fucking thing about this because back then, obviously a couple years ago with the Dark Knight Rises, when that knucklehead came in and shot the whole theater up with his orange hair, and there's these fantastic memes of a photo of this big black guy. He's sitting next to some random guy with orange hair in a movie theater, and he goes, "I'm just making friends." And the word says, "I'm just making friends with him just in case." Because the black guy looks so scared. It's so funny. Anyway, so obviously, and then the first reports were out saying, "Oh, the guy said he was the Joker," and none of that. It ended up being none of that shit. Actually, he didn't say he was the Joker running around, shooting people. It wouldn't make any sense. Because whatever.
It just sucks that everything is ruined.
I mean that it's just
stupid people. I just want to enjoy a movie,
right?
And automatically, I'm going into it expecting something dumb because of other people.
People ruin everything anyway. But so people were in the mainstream media and the news were saying, "Oh, this is going to cause incel violence, or people are going to go nuts shooting up theaters and shit," which is it's a very credible thing to believe in because it does happen. It's not like that's not happening. But they were dead set that this film, because it's about a loner who goes nuts, or is nuts, I guess, And also everybody, apologies if we say the word nuts or crazy, and you actually have a mental illness.
I'm a
or something
mentally
like
ill
that.
person, so
Me
I'm
too.
allowed
I'm
to
very
say it. The
mentally
same way I'm
ill.
allowed to make fun of Jews. 'Cause I'm a Jew.
This podcast is run with two mentally ill people that only do the show because they have OCD. Like, if we had any real lives, we wouldn't do this show. Do you know what I mean? Like, we could have been doing this show for like 6 years because we're nuts. Anyway, so we call
And
it like
bored.
we see it. So people were like, oh, this movie's going to cause people to go crazy. It's an incel, which the guy really is. I think the Joker, I guess, is an incel in the film because he doesn't really get laid.
I suppose, but like, really, it's just the most depressing movie. The movie does not stop. It's just like, wow, this guy has the worst life. And every time you think it's picking up, it's like, oh, he hallucinated that whole thing.
I'm not into sort of depression porn, like movies where, it's just like, and I think that's ironic coming from when I see Korean films because they're like the most fucking depressing movies of all time. But this, I didn't feel as depressed watching this movie because you know what? I knew he was going to become the Joker and just start killing everybody. But I was surprised. Spoilers.
It's the best explanation though for why he. It's the first time I've seen a real explanation for why he became the Joker.
Yeah, because he doesn't really have. Well, he does have an explanation in the original comics in the 40s, but people don't give a shit about that stuff really.
What is it? What is it?
He was just a small time crook, and he was like trying to rob this place, and
he fell in the acid.
He had a thing. He used to be called the Red Hood. There was like a criminal thing called the Red Hood where multiple people would wear this red hood, like had no facial features to it, and he had a red cape, and you would just rob places. People would like assign certain criminals the Red Hood, and they would just rob places, so they would think this criminal's everywhere. So he was doing that one day, and Batman fucked him up. And he accidentally fell into the vat, much like the original version in the
1991
Tim Burton movie, right?
Great movie if anybody hasn't seen it.
He does not fall into any vat of chemicals in this one because his skin is doesn't naturally turn white in this film like it does in the original comic books. This is more of a realistic take. Realistic even more so than the Christopher Nolan films. I'm sure Christopher Nolan was...
I didn't like those movies.
I hear that a lot now. It's very bizarre because those are some movies that made a lot of money.
They're so like crime trauma-y.
I fucking thought it was exceptional for what it was. But I understand,
I'm not saying they're bad movies. I'm just saying.
No, but I understand I understand people's nowadays why they're sort of upset with the Nolan films because they sort of take out the magic and then the insanity of
to me, like Batman is a crazy person who's really rich, and he should be on top of a building with his like cape blowing in the wind. Like that's what I picture.
And here's the thing with Nolan's films is that he treated them like Heat. He's treated them like I forgot who directed. Oh fuck, I forgot. I think it was Tony Scott. I could be wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they're like all about.
They're like realistic crime dramas,
like
with two fucking nut jobs on each end, but they're realistic. This is realistic, but it also has a flash of style
it's got
to
like
it.
It's so satisfying when he becomes.
But do you get what I mean? Like a Nolan film. The thing with Nolan is like he's very creative and his movies are incredibly entertaining. I obviously myself like for Batman Begins, I liked the first hour before he was actually Batman because then when he was Batman, I was sort of bored. And I enjoyed The Dark Knight a lot. I enjoyed it. Now I hear everybody that I talk to hates it or discredits it. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I can't believe
hate it. I just found it like
I know people really have a problem. The
so
one that I did,
it's so bogged down. Like this is like this is like.
I thought Heath Ledger's like people's big argument is like, oh, the movie isn't good without Heath Ledger. It's like, no shit, he's in the fucking movie. What kind of argument is that, you stupid ass?
Yeah, well, that's true. He's in the movie.
But then Dark Knight Rises, I didn't get. Like I liked Bane because he was funny because they turned the Latino or some sort of bizarre version of a Latino into a fucking
I like that
Sean
they did
Connery
the breaking his back and all this shit.
Right. So anyway, those are realistic films, but the difference between Nolan and Todd Phillips' version of this Joker, I think Heath Ledger's Joker is fucking great in that movie anyway. But the difference between how they're stylized is that this has style to it, even though it is a realistic stylization.
This is like a full character study,
Right.
Like, this is really good.
With this film, there's no other character development besides Arthur Fleck's character. No, everybody else serves the purpose only to further Arthur Fleck's character development. And And the thing is like they like I said before, like it was depression porn. I didn't really feel
Why
that
did
depression.
why did they call him Arthur Fleck? Because his real name is Jack Napier.
No, it's not.
It is.
You're only informed because of the Tim Burton movie. That's not canon. That
No, I think that's based on comics too.
I don't think he in that film he also killed Batman's parents, and that's Joe Chill that killed Batman's parents. It wasn't.
No, I'm not saying the film
Joker.
is 100% accurate, but I think the name is accurate.
Why don't you Google that? Why don't you find that out? But anyway,
Okay.
so give me some your first impressions while watching this film. I think Jack
Fucking
Napier is
found
a
this
black
movie
pornographic
very,
actor.
very depressing. There are points where it was like maybe like a little too tedious, to be honest. Like I kind of wish that they did like 10% less horrible things happening to this man and like 10% more him actually as the Joker.
Okay.
But
I was
overall,
I was not
I love it.
expecting him to kill people so early into the film, like about 15 or half an hour into the film. It's a 2
Okay,
hour
it says
film.
Jack Napier.
It says Jack Napier. This is from the DCFandom.com. I'm reading. Jack Napier is an alter ego associated with the Joker, sometimes used as the character's real name. This is a tribute to the actors Jack Nicholson and Alan Napier. So,
Okay, I guess I'm wrong.
the Jack Napier identity was created by Sam Hamm and Warren Scarn. Yes, so it was created for the Batman film. It's not.
He's also identified as
canonical.
Melvin Reapin, which is Napier backwards. Whatever.
What's his
I don't
last
know.
name? Reapin?
Reapin.
Was that? I thought that was Bill Cosby's name too. Anyway, so the thing with
Do
this
your
film.
impressions.
Oh yeah, no. Throughout the episode, I'm gonna do famous Joker quotes. So not yet.
Oh no, I meant Bill Cosby. But
Wait till they get a load of me. Anyway, or should I
Right.
say, wait till I get a load on them? That's what he'd say. So, here's the thing. I was surprised that they're going to get into the violence pretty quickly into this film. You know, he takes out these Wayne Corporation sort of executives, and he blasts them on the train. Really well done. I was very surprised by that happening, even though I think I knew ahead of time that was going to happen.
I didn't have any idea what was going to happen.
Shoots them down
so
in a
it was
very
all mystery
chilling
to
and
me.
effective scene. Runs back home. This Gotham City, which serves as the Bronx and parts of New York, obviously, takes place in 1981. I was
Did
well
you
aware
actually
of some of
visit
these
the staircase
locations.
he dances down?
Yeah,
right?
I
You said?
visited that staircase. I actually went down that staircase a couple months ago. It's a very large staircase, and it's very cool. Horrible song choice for that staircase, but we'll get to that.
That guy's a pedophile, by the way.
Yeah, Gary. You mean Gary Glitter, the guy who made the song?
yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people still trying to find reasons because nobody shot up the theaters. Now there's big articles saying, "Oh, a pervert will be making money off the Joker film." So then
Everyone
trying
in
to
Hollywood's
associate
a
it.
fucking pervert. What the hell are
Of
they
course.
talking about?
Yeah, so Gary Glitter's all right with Danny. So with this film, it's just that the violence in it is the violence in it is very, very shocking.
Oh, it's so satisfying when he
It
shoots
is.
fucking Robert De Niro. Oh, that's the best.
Did you like that?
Oh yeah, no, that was like the most satisfying moment in the film to me.
Because Robert De Niro's character, what was Robert De Niro's character's name?
He's just
Murray
Murray
something.
Yeah,
And-
he's just such a scumbag.
And
like,
the thing
it's
is, I'll
great.
give De Niro credit. I think
Murray
he's a good.
Franklin.
I'll give De Niro credit. I think he's a good actor. I did not buy him at all as a TV show host. Like I couldn't believe he was a TV show host. Obviously, they brought him in. Listen, Todd Phillips just ripped off Taxi Driver and what is the other film?
I don't think so.
King of Comedy. Oh yes, he did. Like those are two.
I mean,
well, obviously,
there's
it's-
obviously fucking parallels. But
yeah, I
like,
mean, there's parallels, and also, I mean, those aren't new ideas. Like a loner that goes crazy and kills everybody. Even though, like the Travis Bickle's character is not as much of a loser as he's like a sociopath, and the Joker is like mentally ill. So it's sort of different things, but obviously, Todd Phillips used those as templates for this film, which is all right. Plenty of films use templates as other films, but he's obviously putting in.
there was only like one scene that was like, oh, this is actually like a pretty obvious ripoff of Taxi Driver, but not. I wouldn't call it a ripoff. But like when he's practicing.
Is that when he
killing
takes a
himself.
taxi? No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
But obviously,
Well, when he
De Niro-
takes a prostitute to a porn, or no, it wasn't a prostitute. He took his date to a porn, and then he saved the prostitute. Whatever. It's
But De
been a while.
Niro, I could not believe. Like I think
No,
they
I
were
can
going.
believe it because everybody in this movie that isn't basically Arthur himself is either like some kind of mentally ill person
No,
or
no,
like a
I meant like
mafioso asshole.
De Niro's the way he talked as a host, like on a TV
Yeah,
show.
because he's like this Frank Sinatra like
No,
mafia
but he's
guy.
not. He wasn't charming at all. He wasn't like Johnny Carson. Like, I don't give a shit about Johnny Carson or any of those shows. But Johnny Carson was like new. Oh, did you hear the news? Like he's doing that shit. And at
Yeah,
least he was sort of charming. Even though I heard that he kicked his wife's ass. You could watch
did he?
on Howard Stern. Does a great fucking skit
He
of
was a
it. It's
domestic
so
abuser,
bad.
really?
So bad.
That's not
It's a
good. I
skit.
didn't know that.
Howard
You just like
Stern used to-
ruined Johnny Carson.
Howard Stern used to do. This is not funny. I know why I'm laughing, but he did a skit of like Johnny Carson, and he's sitting at his desk, and he invites his first wife up, and like Johnny Carson's like, I heard you did something or other," and then she like insults him, but like lightly insulting him, and he just cold cocks her, and she falls. It's so offensive. Anyway, so I didn't buy because he like Robert De Niro's like, "Hey, I hear there's super rats in the sewers, and you know what they're gonna do with that? Super cats." And then you hear the audience like doing backflips, and I'm like, this guy, like Letterman has. I know this is one thing that's like this has no point for me to be upset about.
I don't agree. I think it was a good character.
I couldn't buy his acting in the scene. He's a very good actor, and he's good in some of the scenes.
He's
like when
representing like douchey New York,
right, obviously, and he's a piece of
stereotype.
shit because obviously he brings a person on stage to goof
Even like
on
the
them.
way they showed, something interesting is the way they like portrayed fucking the Waynes and like Alfred.
Yeah,
like
Alfred,
Alfred's
yeah,
like
that
this
was
fucking
interesting.
asshole. Like I've never seen Alfred be an asshole before.
But Alfred is an asshole. Like when you piss him off, like a good version of Alfred is in that terrible show Gotham. Like I watched Gotham for four seasons, and then I just gave
I've
up on
heard
the
it's
fifth
really
season.
good. Were you calling it terrible?
Who told you that? No, like where it went up to. Okay, the show's not terrible, but I just had enough of it myself. Like I went
Yeah.
4 seasons. I try now when I go through shows, I try not to force myself to watch shows that I get out of you know what I mean. That I'm like, oh, I can't do it. Like The Walking Dead. Like I'm done for. One of my friends still watches it, and he goes, "Oh man, it's getting good." I was like, "There's no way. You can't fool me. I'm not into that tomfoolery. I won't watch that show." And so I'm like, anyway, the
Tomfool. You're the only person I know who uses the term tomfoolery.
so the what the hell is his name? Alfred in Gotham is fucking awesome. He's a great character, Alfred
Okay.
Pennyworth, and he's but he's like an ex. I forget what the British Royal.
I just always think of the Alfred from the WB. He's just this nice old man, and
the WB.
there's an
the old
episode.
cartoon show.
Yeah, there's an
Oh,
episode
okay.
where he tries to go on vacation, and like his vacation gets screwed up somehow, and like I'm trying to remember. Like I remember him suntanning at the end of it, like happily. Whatever. In any case, he's a nice old man, and in this, he's like this fucking asshole, and you're
Yeah,
like so
so-
happy when he gets.
Well, I
grabbed.
mean, he sees a guy putting his hands over, Bruce Wayne's face.
yeah, I
Some
know.
random stranger, so he's not gonna be, "Hey, bother, do you mind if not doing that?" He'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing touching this kid that I'm, supposed to be," which I
Only I'm
understood.
supposed to touch this kid.
Right. So I understand why he's acting like a dick. And they also made Thomas Wayne sort of an asshole. But a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the first time we've seen Thomas Wayne as an asshole." But I'm like, no, I've seen him sometimes in the comic books as sort of this,
I mean, I
overbearing
definitely was
figure.
happy when he got shot. That's the first time in my life I've ever been
And
happy Batman's
I don't
father
think he
got
deserved
shot.
to get shot. They tried to make him like a Trump character, obviously, and then like I think originally,
Well,
what's
I'm
his
gonna
name?
not say what I'm
Stop.
about to say.
Yes, be quiet. And then originally, who's that? Who's the guy who plays Trump on Saturday Night Live?
Oh, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin was actually supposed to play him in this film, but then he dropped out because I guess he didn't want to continue playing Trump on.
Yeah, I mean, this
screen.
guy is. I wouldn't say he's as bad as Trump. I mean, that's a hard one to do, but he's
Well,
definitely.
yeah,
an
no, he was
asshole.
just like, but he an asshole because like people are bothering him. Like he represents the
No,
1%.
he's like a rich entitled asshole. Like that's
What did he do in the film that was sort of like I'm not here to protect
Just the
the
way
rich.
he's,
I'm
like,
just trying to figure out the
talking-
character himself.
Just the way he's talking to somebody who's like clearly mentally ill and just looking for answers, and he like punches him in the face and shit. Like he's an asshole.
Then you can't even stand people in the in New York City. You act like him.
Yeah,
if you
he's
could.
the person in New York City I can't stand.
So anyway,
I worked for people like him for years.
so we're talking about all the other side characters. Obviously, there's Zazie Beetz who plays this woman who's clearly I like that reveal in the film because
Yeah.
I was very upset at the beginning of the film when Zazie Beetz, who plays Domino, she plays this girl. I don't even know her fucking name. She has
I
like
can't
a
believe that's her
child.
name. That's such a cool name.
It is. And she, if like we said before, she played Domino in Deadpool 2. And she plays a neighbor of Arthur Flex, and they're going up the elevator, and
After she gets stalked, she's like, "Oh, I like this guy."
Yeah, I was confusing. Like, because there's a part where after he shot the 3 guys on the train, he runs to her apartment, and he kisses her and goes inside. And I was like, bullshit. I was like, this is horrible writing. Horrible writing. Then
I said, when she was happy with his performance at the stand-up, that was when I was like, there's something weird going on here.
I was like, this is horrible writing. Like, I mean, I know women are not written well for films for the most part because guys don't know how to fucking write women a lot of the times. Yeah. And I'm like, this can't be. I'm like, this is horrible. I never had an inkling that it was, even though clearly we saw that he has mentally
when he imagined himself on
when he imagines himself on Murray Franklin's show, and it's a really well done sequence, and apparently they change up the film differently, and then when it's revealed that he never really had a relationship with her, I was like, that's good. I was like, okay, you just redeemed yourself with that, because I would have been completely insulted. And then people are very stupid when they see films, so they were like, oh yeah, man, he just he really had a relationship with her, he just deleted her out of his mind. I'm like, what? You fucking stupid.
Who said this?
Some asshole on fucking boards. Like, people that are the guy must have been delusional himself watching the film, because clearly I just can't stand people. But the guy was like, yeah, the Joker had fucking mental prowess to delete this woman out of his mind. What a fucking idiot.
That's not mental prowess. That's also mental illness. It's called denial. But it didn't happen because it was imagined.
Yeah, and they were like, and then people were questioning, like, oh, why did did Arthur kill her? I'm like, no, the motherfucker was just in her room and then left. He didn't. Yeah, I don't think he
was just like sad.
Yeah, he's like, because with the
What do you think of his laughter? Actually,
I liked it. I actually liked it a lot. That's based on there's an actual thing for that, like an actual illness. Where like I see commercials for it all the time. It's like, do you find yourself laughing uncontrollably, or do you find yourself crying? I can't think of the name.
Is it like related? It's called Pous bulbar effect, PBA, or emotional incontinence.
Right. Yeah.
Is that related to Tourette's?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so, because he's not saying anything. But I think it's just an emotional thing.
I mean, I knew somebody had Tourette's and he just had tics. He didn't really.
Yeah, obviously, I think the last thing we're going to talk about is Joaquin Phoenix's acting, which is just by itself is incredible. But before that, they obviously got Zazie Beetz. They got his mother, played by the wonderful actress from American Horror Story. Frances Conroy is fucking. She's just a good fucking actor, man.
She's really good at playing crazy people.
She is great. She is so fucking good. If you just watching like American Horror Story, like when she's on it, she's just so fucking good. And then to see her in here, I was like, oh, good for her.
I never even heard of her until 6 Feet Under, and she was like 60 at that point.
Oh, really? Yeah. So then, is she like in her 70s now or something?
I don't know, she's pretty old.
Yeah, she's a good actor, man.
How old is she? Let's see.
And
okay, no, I'm wrong. She's 65. I guess she was probably like
50 something or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 Feet Under is about 10 years old or something like that, right? Or more than that? Probably more than that. So I was surprised that College Road Trip is fucking almost 20 years old. Now that really fucking Road Trip, the movie with Tom Green?
That was the one with Tom Green.
Yeah, that's almost 20 years old, that movie. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so Frances Conroy plays his mentally ill mother, and they give this sort of background where, is he or isn't he the son of Thomas Wayne? And I was like, I hope he really isn't the fucking son of Thomas Wayne. That's so stupid. And he's not. He was adopted, and he finds out that his mother, would let these random boyfriends of hers beat the shit out of him. And, he dropped them on his head, which is a huge fucking, that's a very well-known creation of serial killers. Because there's a lot of serial killers that, a brain injury at a young age can truly fuck you up. And
Is
anyway,
that how you got the way you are?
Yes, that's why I can't stop looking into people's toilets. So he gets out. He takes care of his adopted mom, kills her right there.
You eat a bunch of cereal and then kill it in a toilet.
That's, man. When they say this show isn't funny, I don't know what they're talking about. So he does that. I mean, who's the other sort of? It was Sonny. the father of what's his name from
I don't know what
Spider-Man
you're
anime.
saying. What?
Brian Tyree Henry shows up like really shortly in the film too. The guy that we just talked to that played the cop in Child's Play, the African American dude.
Oh yeah. He's at the.
He's like an
And he
administration.
was
They have a
also
lot
in
of big
Spider-Verse
people
as the
in
voice
very
of the
small
dad.
roles. Yeah, they have very small roles in this film.
He was,
So like also seeing the guy from
he was the guy at the desk
right,
with
and then the Joker
with the
steals it from him.
information in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, and then they also have who's that actor from Glow? Mitch. Oh, what the hell is he? Has like one of the biggest podcasts out there. You know the guy that was Murray's like the dude putting his shit together. What the fuck is his name? The comedian.
I don't know. Oh, Glenn
No,
Fleshler?
I'm gonna drive me nuts. I gotta see it. Hold on.
Bill Camp? I don't know.
He has like one of the biggest fucking podcasts in the world. What the fuck is this guy's name? He's on the. But then they have Shea Wiggum, who's another actor who's like, you see him in every film, and he plays like a cop for like 3 seconds. That gets his ass kicked on the train.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck is he doing in this movie? I'm like, I didn't like he didn't exist until that last scene. Shea Wiggum isn't that? And then
I felt bad for the scene
Mark
with the
Maron
midget.
Mark Maron is the guy who's.
You know the
helping.
scene with the midget? Like, I felt so bad for him.
You
'cause he
mean
couldn't
the
open
little
door.
person?
The little person, and he couldn't open the
Yeah, that was
the
pretty.
lock.
Obviously, that was
sucked.
supposed to be a joke. Like this, like it's not an outwardly funny movie, but that's supposed to be a joke in the movie. And the Joker
Yeah.
lets him live, and he shoots that knucklehead asshole. who sold
Honestly,
him
I
the
would
gun.
be. The joke. He's not like.
Nobody
He's
said
not,
anything.
I mean, he is a bad guy, obviously, in this movie, but he's not that bad. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
kinda
he's
all
not like the
makes
Joker
sense.
that we know him. That he's like, killing.
Like, he's
random
not like
people.
a wild animal. Like,
He's not like
killing
cooking
people that are
laughing gas
bad.
and shit. And the weird thing is that nobody says shit about him. Like, I could understand the guy who gave him the gun, who doesn't like he's
Well,
he
they do
wouldn't
say
it
shit about him. The cops are on his tail.
No, I understand because his boss said that because he dropped the gun when he was performing in front of the kids. But that big guy didn't say anything about him because he was the one who gave him the gun, so he'd get in trouble too in the first place. But
Right.
like he lets that little man go. The little man doesn't say anything to anybody.
Well, no, I think the little man did because
Do you think he?
the next
do you think
scene
maybe
we
he
see
was
is
still
the
going on
cops.
the? Okay.
The next scene we see is the cops when they see him are like chasing him. So I believe that the little guy did call the cops on him.
Yeah, but it's interesting. He got away with a lot of shit in this film. Strangely enough, because I think in usual people get caught in 5 seconds. But then this is supposed to be the fucking 1980s where crime was sort of just unrepentant. And
Yeah, cops
also
were super corrupt, and that's
this-
certainly changed, right?
this also there's the old tinge of the. This is so funny because people were so upset about this being an incel white guy movie, and then it was actually about like the 99% and Antifa sort of style movie. Where and then obviously shooting a
I mean, can you
presidential-
honestly picture any of these people who like defend cops, even when there's videos of them like killing somebody for no reason? Like, you could picture them killing a cop. I can't. Like,
So then so then in this clearly like and then also at least they put in a white man stealing the black man's paint face. You know what I mean? He stole that idea. It's the first time we see the guy with the Joker's facial paint is one of the protesters on
and then
television.
the
It's a
guy who
black
killed the guy who killed the Wayne family. Like, was he just a random one, or was he the one maybe that used the ambulance to hit the cop or something? Like, is
You know,
he,
I
like,
didn't put any thought to that, but that's I guess that's supposed to be Joe Chill. Joe Chill is supposed to be just some random thug that robs them, and they fit in this. You've seen Batman's family get killed more than anybody in movies, like forever, like seriously. But they die as many times as fucking James Bond walks into that gun circle and shoots at it. Because and then they keep. I think Alan Moore's version of Batman, or it could have been. Sorry, it could have been something from The Killing Joke. I'm not sure. When they rip the pearls off of Martha Wayne, off her neck.
Yeah.
Because that's like a repeated thing from all the films. Like I remember seeing it in Batman versus Superman. Apparently, it happens in all of them. I don't notice.
I would have given her a new pearl necklace.
But apparently that's like a really striking visual that they always use. His parents are really old too. Like they look like they were in their 60s, and he was like 12 years old, so they were getting into fucking when they were in their 50s or something.
Did you ever see The Man Who Laughs?
Yeah, that's the old silent. Is it the silent film where they based the
Yeah,
Joker's look off of it? Yeah, it looks.
hmm
They literally just ripped it off. They literally just took his face and then
yeah.
whoever that actor was. Anyway, so let's get into Joaquin Phoenix's
Joaquin,
performance for this film.
right?
What did you think about Joaquin Phoenix?
I think that he is the second, or tied for the second best Joker of all Jokers.
Nice. I here's my thing. I think he does an incredible fucking character study here. He's great. Like I believed him throughout the whole film. Like when you read all those news reports after, and you're like,
hmm
oh, this is so pretentious. Like this guy cannot stop being so pretentious. Like he leaves interviews for 2 hours because
Did
they
you
ask
see
him
the
if
one where
this
he did
is gonna
that
cause
giant
violence.
hoax about being a rapper on Letterman?
Yeah. But that was a whole performance thing.
I mean, but that was
Um,
fucking awesome.
he's probably a normal guy, but he probably has to act like a weirdo in public, as opposed to like Christian Bale, who has no personality in public,
And
and
then
then
is a
he
psycho
yells
on
at.
set.
He really is a psychopath. Um, but like Joaquin Phoenix, like when you read those reports that like he got upset and left an interview because the interview was saying, "Hey, do you think this movie will cause violence?" Like obviously you don't want to go in thinking about shit like that because this is
Yeah.
obviously that was the first sort of mechanisms against this film. And then also,
Bullshit. Everybody shut the fuck
it's all
up.
bullshit anyway. But I mean, here it is. We can say it's bullshit, but it's not stated in unreality. Like people are fucking crazy, and they will shoot
Yeah,
up places.
people are crazy, but now you're gonna try to like paint this picture that people who want
Yeah,
to
like this
see
was
a comic book
directly. Yeah,
movie
this was
are
directly pointed
incel
towards.
killers. Give me
This
a
was
break.
directly appointed towards this film. It's not like they would do it for John Wick, which is like gun porn.
Every fucking movie in America is filled with gun violence. Like,
It's true.
and like all kinds
And I
of
like John Wick
sex
movies.
and everything. And I'm against censorship,
But
but like, don't
but
target
there's like
one.
there's like these things about Joaquin Phoenix, but then you could disassociate that because the acting is so fucking good. He's great in this.
I don't have a
And
bad idea of him actually. I think he's cool.
yeah, I think he's great as the Joker himself. I have to give it a little bit of a curve because he's playing Arthur Fleck, and then he's the Joker the last 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
And so when he gets a little bit of that confidence and shit, I like that. I like that sort of turn to the Joker because we've seen many different versions of the Joker on cinema. Obviously, the earliest and not the most
We've
famous
never
one
seen an
now.
origin story, really. I mean, we
So we
kinda,
have
you know,
a couple. We have a
little
couple
bit,
of
but-
Jokers. We have Jack Nicholson's Joker.
which is like maybe the best. I think that's the best.
That as in sort of like he's a very sort of sadistic criminal guy with a black sense of humor. We have the Joker, who's like the original version from the Batman, the '60s television version.
He never shaved his mustache, so the
No, but he
makeup
was
would be
great.
on
Like
his
I mean,
mustache. I love him.
I thought he was great. That guy's great. Cesar Romero's version is fucking great. Like that's the original how the Joker was supposed to be anyway. Then we have obviously Mark Hamill's version from the Batman the Animated Series, which I think is probably the pinnacle of sort of. They gave him time to, although that character doesn't have the background, he had nuances in the way he was performed, and that's like an incredible version of the character.
I
Clearly,
love him.
Heath
They actually
Ledger's-
do have an episode, I believe, where it shows him as
Oh, I'm
a
sure, yeah.
comedian.
There's, I think that was based on The Killing Joke, which is this graphic novel written by Alan Moore, which I thought was okay. Like people were saying it was the greatest one of all time, and I'm like, it's all right. Like it's the Joker trying to fuck up Jim
Is
Gordon's
that the one where he
life.
kills?
No, he doesn't
Barbara
kill anybody.
Gordon?
No. He fucks up Barbara. I think like he takes photos of her naked after he shoots her and paralyzes her. And what
Okay.
he's trying to do is make Jim Gordon
he
like a
paralyzed
stalwart
Robin.
of the. Like what?
He paralyzed Robin, I thought, or killed
No,
Robin.
he killed Robin.
Yeah,
he killed the
Robin,
second
he
Robin. The
paralyzed
second
Barbara Gordon.
The second Robin came back as like a psychopathic superhero. But anyway, so that was a Killing Joke, and I thought the book was alright. People were like going crazy over that. I'm like, who gives a shit? Anyway, so then there's also obviously like Heath Ledger's version is like pure anarchist, and I thought that was a great fucking version of the Joker. Like when I remember seeing the trailer and he's like, "Oh, hi guys, he's doing that." I'm like, what the hell is this? And then when I saw the movie, I understood it completely. Like he was a newer version of the character. He was like he was the embodiment of chaos, and which I really much enjoyed. And then, unfortunately, there was the Jared Leto version in Suicide Squad, which is
Was it like? I mean, I know the movie was terrible. Was he terrible too?
he was a no one. He was nothing. The way I can say it is that you know how Justin Bieber acts, like he's like an entitled, spoiled like shithead.
Yeah.
That's how he was in the movie. That's
Oh.
how he acted. There's a scene where the Joker's like, "Hey, I want you to fuck Harley." He sees there's like that rapper Common, the bald rapper,
I
and
don't.
he's like, okay. So anyway, the Common plays some sort of fucking gangster too, and the Joker says, "Why don't you sleep with Harley Quinn?" And he goes, "Nah, man, that's okay." And then he kills the guy for not sleeping with Harley Quinn. So I don't know what message they were trying to get across there. Joker was gonna start jerking off watching some guy fuck his wife. I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Anyway, funny thing in the news. After the Joker film, like Pornhub said that searches for Joker porn has been like humongous now. So
Great.
I googled Joker porn. One of the clips that came up was Harley Quinn pegging Joker. And sure enough, they used the ones from Suicide Squad. The guy looked like the Joker, and the Harley Quinn was like he was suck. It was a sight to see, believe me. Anyway,
There's
so
this you know that movie As Good as It Gets with Jack
yes,
Nicholson.
yeah.
There's a scene where he like opens a letter and he starts crying and it's
Oh.
like
No, it wasn't
So I
that
saw
one.
this
No, no, no,
funny- I saw
no,
funny-
that's not that movie. You're talking about Schmidt.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember
Well,
that completely
anyway,
because he used to go Dear and Dugu. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, so there's a video where it shows him open up the letter, and then it's a picture of Jared Leto as the
yes!
Joker, and then he just
Yes, I
starts
saw
slowly
that.
crying for like
Yes,
5
I saw
minutes.
that. That is funny. I do remember that. I actually remember that he starts crying because that's the end of the film, the original film. They should do it As Good as This Gets, or all his old movies. They should just digitally paint Joker makeup on him, like if
That would be great.
like he survived the fall in the original Batman film. Anyway, so yeah, the Suicide Squad Joker was abysmal. And the thing is, Jared Leto, like people say, oh, he's a good actor, and I'm like, I don't know about like. There was,
He was good
one.
in Fight Club. That's about it.
He's good in that, and then like also, but everything else, he's sort of like, And then I saw him in
Oh, he's good in American Psycho.
Yeah, he's good in that, but he's not a great actor. He won an Oscar for like best supporting actor, and he was for the film that he was in. I think it was called it was an HIV drama, and he was playing like a trans prostitute. And, obviously, a lot of the trans actors were pissed off about it in the first place.
They
But then
should have had a
also,
trans person or whatever.
and then also like, but then I was like, he's not doing that good. He's just sort of doing this sort of fey accent, And I'm like, it's not that good. And then like, there's one monologue that he does, and I was like, oh, okay, I can see why he won that. But he doesn't do that. Everything else, like in Blade Runner 2049, I was like, he's not that good in this either. But that movie was great. But
Wait,
he was the guy with the
what's he-
silver eyeballs in Blade Runner 2049.
okay.
Yeah, but he was like, it was very put upon. Anyway,
He was the one that like killed the.
Yeah, he was the one that wanted to
Yeah.
create all the fucking new.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, that movie
Whatever.
was great, but he's a horrible Joker, and I feel, I almost feel like because now I'm sure he's seeing this and he's like, oh fuck, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like my Joker, like people still dressed up like him in Halloween, but those are like people that just wanted to look cool, I guess. And this Joaquin Phoenix's Joker to me, in his
Amazing.
20 minutes of it. I can see it as obviously the first day because it's the first day as Joker, and
Right.
he's not a criminal mastermind. He's not.
Do you think he'll ever get to Jack Nicholson?
Clearly,
level
I guess
crazy?
like that's eventually where he was supposed to be going to, but now that we know his faults and his. Because then people are like writing on like, oh, now I understand why Batman wants to save the Joker. Like, how would he know that if he doesn't even fucking know the guy? But I guess in this version, he can find out who the Joker is because Joker has a
Yeah,
paper
but by the
trail in this
time
movie.
Batman is of age, Joker's gonna be like 60.
Right. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. So, I mean, he's supposed to be like 10 or something, right, in this film?
Yeah,
But
he's
I
a little
think-
kid.
I think he's a good Joker. I don't think he's a great Joker because this is like the beginning of it. We don't
I
see
mean,
the shades of
I think he's exactly where he should be at this point.
right in this point in the
Perfectly
film,
awesome.
obviously, like the way he's in the like when he's sitting in the talking to Murray.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're in a society, and it's very fey and very effeminate in the way he's acting, and which is fine because somebody said, oh, the Joker's supposed to be theatrical. And yeah, I get that. I understand what it is. So I liked him. I liked him in the film. He's obviously playing a weirdo and a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
I thought his performance as Arthur Fleck is like. As a character, he's a living, breathing character, which means every other character in the film suffers. There's nobody that he has no relationship
Yeah, well,
to
they don't-
anybody
we
else.
don't
But
need
the movie's
anybody
called
else to be
Joker. The movie's called Joker. What can you fucking do about it? and it's as succinct and as tight on one character than any other film I've seen in a while.
I do. My only criticism is they had like 10 minutes less depressing shit and like 10 minutes more Joker.
I didn't get. Yeah, well, I could. Obviously more Joker would be great, but I didn't get like depressed watching the film. Strangely enough, I always knew that
about being depressed is that it's just like it dragged on a little. Like it's just like okay, I get it.
I think it's because I knew that he was gonna. Eventually I knew he was gonna turn into the Joker, so that's why I was sort of like, okay, I have to get through it, but whatever. But it wasn't like bored. I never was bored throughout the film.
I was like bored, but I really was at one point, like towards probably like 3/4 in, like, all right, come on, let's get to it.
So it was like an emotional torture porn a little bit for you or something like that.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I liked the film throughout. I thought it was really good. Besides that, the other characters were sort of just paper thin. I thought it was a really well-made film. A lot of people, like friends of mine, are going.
Also, it's like all about false narrative in this movie, so that's really his perception of those characters,
right? So it's who knows what really happens in this film. Because they were like arguing, oh, did those people really, enjoy those people? Was that crowd really crazy for him at the end? Was that real, or the shot where he's banging his head against the door in the beginning is like. Did he never really leave the insane asylum and is just making it all up?
No,
I hope that's not the case. But I enjoyed it because there are a lot of visual cues in it too. Apparently, when they say the super rats, that's a reference to a character called the Rat Catcher, who's a Marvel villain. DC villain who's going to be in the second Suicide Squad movie coming out.
They're making another one?
Yeah, but that's with the James Gunn, the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I know who he is. Is Jared Leto going to be in that again?
No.
Who's going to be in it?
It's just going to be, it's like 30 people, but they're like playing, they like basically got rid of the whole cast and they just kept Harley Quinn. And with Jared Leto, what they did basically, they said, go fuck yourself because they made a sequel to the Harley Quinn movie coming out now, and like he breaks up with her and they use like a body double for the Joker throwing her stuff out of the window. Well, they made money with Suicide Squad, so they're going to continue it.
Hey, you know what else made money? Annabelle.
Yeah, and Danny, that's why they have 5 Annabelle movies.
Yeah, I know, but they're not good films, so,
Well, we don't matter to those people. Unless we shot money out of our mouths when we say it wasn't good, then that doesn't matter.
I guess. What's your rating? Is there anything else to say?
I would give this movie a strong 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10... Because it's a good movie. It's not the greatest movie, but as a character study, Joaquin Phoenix is fucking incredible in this movie. An 8 out of 10, making up in your mind that you were having sweet relations with a young Nubian princess
who has
and then finding out you did it.
Luck.
Yes. See, I would believe him saying. And I do mean beautiful to her, not the other lady. Her, I would believe that, He's like, they should have the Joker saying that, like in the future movies, he should be like he'll just automatically start talking like Heath Ledger, even though he's not Heath Ledger. He'd be like, I like big, large African butts. He's like that all the time.
I'm gonna give this movie a 9.
So racist. Okay, 9 out of 10. What?
9 out of 10. Stabbing your clown friend violently and then locking the door and your other clown friend can't reach it to escape.
Ooh. Did I tell you how I got these scars? I was looking at big ethnic rumps. I crack myself up. Boy, am I funny. And with that, Danny, what's the final word?
The man who laughs